Strike Force. Month of July, and we're going to be talking how from zero become a hero, especially if you're a free-to-play player or a beginning player. The very first thing that you need to know, you have to be resourceful. And the very first thing that any new player has to focus is on legendary characters. So we're going to be talking about stores, requirements for the legendary characters, as well as how to get all necessary requirements for the legendary characters. There are a few legendary characters. Star-Lord is the first character that any new player should be focusing on. And to get a Star-Lord, you will require to have 5 Guardians of the Galaxy at 5 stars or 5 Ravengers. I found this amazing schematics online, so credit goes to the casino. Basically, we will see that 5 Guardians right here, or you can do a mishmash team with the 5 Guardians, and as you can see, Ravenger and Boomer, as well as 3 Guardians right here, and 2 Ravengers. So when we check the stores, there are specific Guardians who I would suggest to focus on, and going through the Blitz. Blitz is pretty easy, and in the beginning I would suggest to pretty much all new players to focus on either Mantis, and I'm farming her currently right now to 6 stars to obtain Star-Lord when he comes next time around at 6 stars, so I can use him in Dark Dimension 1. As well as Gamora. Gamora at best is mediocre character, however, if you cannot get Groot or Rocket Raccoon, she's the good alternative. Alright, going through the raid store. Raid store, probably the biggest caveat of the raid store, that you can get Rocket Raccoon only from here. The problem is that it does come around periodically, and you know, your guild obviously has to participate in raids as well as you have to participate in raids. So that's a pretty difficult farm, which is why I would suggest, you know, to go for both Mantis and Gamora, so you wouldn't find yourself short when time comes. Okay, so next is Arena Shop. And Arena Shop is probably one of the best places to farm. You could get drugs from here, because arena currency is not needed for anything else, and you know, you're getting to 50 daily as well as whenever you participate, depending on your placement. So his Drax is pretty easy to farm. I'm also planning to get him to 6 stars to get Star-Lord next time around. Okay, so whenever we're looking for the Guardians, we also have left Groot, and Groot is the farm node, difficult farm node. Yeah, right here. It's pretty easy to farm as well, as long as you're consistent with it. I would not suggest to farm Ravengers. Unless you have no choice, or unless you're behind in any of the aforementioned characters, Ravengers are pretty much useless. The only one that probably anyone should be focusing on, if so, will be Yondu. First of all, is better than any other Ravenger. Second of all, he could be a very good replacement for Rocket Raccoon if you shorten him. And last of all, there are, so to speak, secret offers for him. If you click Find, and you go all the way to the side, you can get 150 shards of him for $30 pretty much. It's a push, very expensive, but if that's what makes you get Star-Lord, go for it. I understand. The next on the list is Shuri, the Princess of Wakanda, younger sister of T'Challa. And basically for Shuri, you need either Sinister Six or Spider-Verse. 5 characters at 5 stars. And once again, credit to Casino, amazing graphic that shows us basically which characters are the best to farm. I found myself farming rather for Sinister Six, because you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Alright, so we're going to be checking for Sinister Six right now. And the most difficult for me to farm was Elektra. As of right now, I'm farming Sinister Six, and there is actually an amazing offer for Sinister Six. Quite expensive, however, probably the best offer you can get as of right now. The 2 easiest characters to farm, as you can see, I got them at 5 stars, would be Rhino, you can get from Blitz. Pretty easy farm, easily obtainable, while Vulture you can get from the Arena store. Also a very easy character to farm. Now the problem gets when you start farming, first of all, Mysterio. And as a matter of fact, personally for me, Shocker is another huge caveat. Because drop rates for Shocker are unbelievable. Sometimes from, you know, 2 refreshes of 50, so 15 battles in total, I get 1 or 2 shards at most. I don't understand why the drop rate specifically for Elektra so low. Going back to the store. Second, what you should be farming in the raid store would be Mysterio. Mysterio is a long farm. Once again, shards rotate in the store, and it will be very difficult for you to get it right away. So keep an eye on it and try to get Mysterio from there. The last 2 characters, which is Green Goblin and Shocker, as I already mentioned, you'll get in a hard farm, hard note. And here you go. Alright, so let's talk about this offer right here. quite expensive, $25. However, and if you're free to play and you're definitely not spending, forget about it. This isn't for you. The next is Invisible Woman. As you can see, all she requires is Sinister 6, just like Princess Shuri. So, as I mentioned before, you kill two birds with one stone. If you dedicate yourself to Sinister 6, it's quite difficult for him, however, opens to legendary characters. Remember, the main focus of the game is to know where to invest, and what I mean by invest is gold and gear, as well as pretty much farming legendary requirements and getting those legendary characters. She's an amazing protector and definitely worth getting. Unfortunately, I do not have her as of right now. Her event is running, but I'm short on Electra as of right now. I'm not planning to spend any money this time around. Probably going to wait for another 3 months until she returns. But once again, make sure to farm those characters primarily as soon as you get your Star Lord. Raid Shop for the Mysterio, Arena Shop, Hard Note, Blitz, and Hard Note. The next on the list is Magneto. Magneto will require 5 mutants at 5 stars, or you can use Brotherhood alternatively to 5 mutants. With mutants, it's pretty simple. There is a very high variety of mutants, and one of them you get, by mean, which is Wolverine. Every time whenever you complete your daily activities, you get 5 shards of Wolverine. So usually by 5 to 6 months, you will have 6 to 7 star Wolverine as of right now. Generally, I focused on Mystique. And Mystique as the villain, Hard Note, start farming her early because, it's a long farm. As well as going through the stores. Blitz store offers a bunch of mutants. Starting with Toad. Toad is pretty good, a recent addition. So I wouldn't say it's a bad character as an overall. I focus personally on Strife. He's a very good tank, as well as goes really well with Mr. Sinister. You probably should. Okay, as of my opinion, focus on Strife. Alternatively, you can go for Toad. I personally did not buy anything from the Raid Arena, even though Namor is one of the mutants, and you could be focusing on him. However, I find the currency very valuable and valuable for Rocket Raccoon as well as Mysterio, so you have to dedicate yourself to 1 and 2 characters at most. I did not buy anything, and I wouldn't suggest you to get a mutant from here. Arena. Arena provides Juggernaut. Juggernaut, I'm currently farming him as of right now, and he's extremely good thing, goes extremely well with Magneto, and that's the one I would suggest to farm. We also have Deadpool. Deadpool is getting X-Force and seems to be a pretty good character as of right now. I almost got him at 5 stars. It's up to you. I find Magneto much more valuable and has better synergy with Magneto, while Deadpool is also a good alternative. Raid Store, probably the most valuable currency. Do not get Cable, even though he got better within the X-Force. Okay, from here you're basically going to be getting either Pyro or Sinister 6. Both of them are extremely long farm. Sinister 6 just got added. I just got him unlocked, and as you can see, I'm at 3 stars and getting to 4 stars as fast as I can. Almost got Pyro to 5 stars, and he's one of the key components and damage dealers of the Magneto team. Even though the mutants are not as relevant as they were before, Pyro is pretty good damage over time dealer. Next on our list is Phoenix, the Queen of Dark Dimension. And she requires not a faction, but characters with specific tags, which is Mystic. There are basically only 6 characters. There are basically only 5 characters, as you can see. Nobu, Loki, Mordor, Ronin, and Hand Assassin. Probably the worst out of them is Hand Assassin. Is the only reason she is there. It's basically for the Phoenix. The only reason to farm her. Ronin is fine. Nobu, could be better. Loki is probably something that you should be focusing on because he will let you unlock 2 characters. Phoenix, as we just spoke about, as well as he's a prerequisite for Black Bolt, which probably arguably the best character in the game as of right now. Alright, as we can see, Blitz Store does not offer any shards, so you can really focus here. In Arena Shop, if we look at it, there are also none of the prerequisites for the Phoenix. There is a Hand Archer, but he's not needed. And in the War Currency, we do find Noble. I believe he's one of the least valuable characters to begin with. Also, he's farmable. So all of the 5 aforementioned characters are farmable. Try to farm them, early on. It's a long farm. However, Phoenix is probably one of the best characters in the game as of right now, and she's definitely worth it. Last but not least is Black Bolt. On par with Phoenix, to certain opinions, he's probably even better. Would require 5 Asgardians. Okay, as we can see, Asgardians are not easily attainable, and you cannot get Hela until you get to level 70, which could be a problem for certain people. In my opinion, it was done on purpose, so people couldn't really access characters that are higher up and had to go through, farming process and whatsoever. Let's start with Hela. Unfortunately, I cannot get her because she's not accessible until... I cannot really farm her because she's not accessible until level 70. I cannot really go into villains 7.6. Going through the Sith. Sith is probably one of the longest farms there is, and Sith you get from the arena, from the war currency. Once again, one of the most valuable currencies. I did focus on her at first because she's a long farm and she also happens to appear there periodically. So as soon as you're done focusing on Pyra, start focusing either on Sith or Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is by far more valuable character. However, Sith is a requirement for the Black Bolt. Okay, let's see, Thor. Thor comes in the raid store, also comes periodically, also takes time. So as soon as you're done with Mysterio and Rocket Raccoon, I would suggest you to focus on the Thor. The easiest farm would be Heimdall. Heimdall, you can get him easily from the arena store. There's pretty much nothing else to farm there. It's a very fast farm. It's not there's nothing else to farm, but there is a very fast farm, and all you have to pretty much focus would be shards. Last but not least would be Loki, the god of mischief. Unfortunately, I do not have him unlocked, and I also do not have my Mystic team geared enough to be able to unlock Loki. However, he's an extremely valuable character, probably a top 20 in the game. The only 2 legendary characters that we have left I have to talk about is Iron Man, and Iron Man is always accessible, and as soon as you get 5 shield characters, you pretty much can get him. I did unlock him at 3 stars, and honestly, I haven't used him even once, and I haven't even geared him up. He's not needed, he's not very good. Avengers need an addition to their team to become any better. Another character we should be talking about is Nick Fury. At this point, Nick Fury and SHIELD team lost their viability, and generally, I wouldn't really suggest going for him because he's not going to bring you much bang for your buck. To farm him, you would need 5 Kree characters, which are pretty easily accessible. Last but not least, the legendary addition was Ebony Maw. I do not have him unlocked. As a matter of fact, he's the part of the Black Order, and I don't have anyone unlocked by Proxima Midnight. Do have 3 red stars on him, though. Basically, to obtain him, you would need Inhumans, which means, first of all, you would have to get Black Bolt. If you don't have a Black Bolt, you don't have Ebony Maw. To get a Black Bolt, you need Asgardians, which means you would have to focus on Asgardians, and as soon as you get Asgardians, you can focus on Inhumans to get Ebony Maw. Okay, here are some Inhumans. Some of them are extremely easily obtainable, such as Crystal. You get her from the arena shard. Miss Marvel is easily farmable, as well as Quake. Quake you get from the arena shard as well. The difficult ones to farm would be Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo, I believe, drops only from the premium orbs, and the rate of the drop is 2%. At this time, there is an offer for Yo-Yo. It's very personal to get it or not to get it, but probably this is the best offer they've been ever giving. You get 100 shards of Yo-Yo for $25, plus you get 400 miscellaneous shards. And the last but not least is Karnak. Karnak currently farmable from the Hard Node and Nexus. Probably one of the least valuable of the Inhumans, however, requirement for the Ebony Maw. No reason to focus on Inhumans unless you got the rest of the Black Order. And I think this would conclude our guide on what to focus in. So remember, the very first thing that you would be focusing on is a Galaxy of the Guardians to get a Star-Lord. As soon as you're done with Star-Lord, try to focus on Sinister Six. That would provide you with 2 characters, Princess Shuri as well as Invisible Woman. And as soon as you're done with those 2, I would highly suggest you to go for Asgardians. By that point, you probably should be level 70. You got 3 legendary characters. You've been farming for a little bit. You've been in the game for at least probably 6 months by then. Try to focus on them, specifically on Hela. She's a difficult node. Try farming Sif, as early as possible, at least because she's a war currency character and it's very difficult to farm her. Same goes for the Thor. Thor would be there and would disappear from time to time from the raid currency, so make sure to farm him early. Alright guys, thank you for staying, keep watching, like, subscribe, not to miss any news, and I will see you soon.